Hi friends, Ribeye Ranger Jim here.
And Lynn Tucker, Carnivore, and we're back as a duo. This is fun.
Yep, it's great to be here and great talking to you again.
And we've been planting seeds as we go along. We made our way from Texas to South Carolina.
That's right, I forgot to say it.
Yeah.
Welcome from South Carolina, that's right. Listen, we've been doing a lot of thinking over the past couple of months, and we've each had friends and family members that we try to tell about carnivore because we know they could use some healing. A lot of people are hurting and on medications and everything. We know they could use some healing and wondering why people don't want to start carnivore. And you know what keeps coming back? One word: fear.
Mm-hmm.
But a real man admits his fears.
Hey, I'm scared of spiders, Coach.
Bees.
Bees?
Bees.
Anybody here afraid of anything other than insects?
Fear. That's what keeps people from trying carnivore. Now we know there are several elements and different types of fears, but we're going to cover just a few today.
I think everyone that has experienced starting carnivore and told someone about it, their very first comment is something to do with cholesterol or health concerns. Oh my goodness, you know what we've been taught. You can't
What
be...
about your heart?
Oh, your heart, yes, of course.
These are the common misconceptions of carnivore. So naturally, the biggest fear are health concerns. It's get more knowledge.
Right.
Learn new things. Learn the most recent research if you can get your hands on it. And I gotta tell you, we all have access to the newest research and doctors that think differently than old school doctors.
Well, doctors that have taken the time to actually do the time-consuming thing of looking at all the new studies, taking time to read them, taking time to absorb what they're really saying, taking time to go back into our ancestry, and what did we do when we first started being humans?
And then most importantly, taking the time to translate for us.
Exactly.
And put it into plain English. These are real doctors we're talking about. Real doctors that we follow, and many of you do too, that tell us the truth about our health and nutrition and our biochemistry.
I actually was at the gym back when we were in Texas, and I spoke to this military guy, super great looking guy, big muscles, the whole thing, working out, looking fit, and yet you could see he had a belly. And I said, you know, we got to talking and I got into carnivore. And he was all into it. And I gave him one of my reference cards. And then I saw him about 2 weeks later. Do you know that this very fit, very big, burly military guy said to me, I was afraid. What will it do to my heart? What will this happen? What will that happen? And you're just thinking, please, somebody take the time to just look on the internet and get some new information. It's out there, and now it's being told little by little in the news.
Right. It's actually making national news, as many of you well know, and that's a whole different topic. But we're so glad that good health and nutrition and new information is being put out publicly now. That's a great relief. Well, you know, there are other types of fears that keep people from wanting to even try carnivore, even change their diet a little bit. So I don't know, what's one of your other fears that you're thinking about?
You know, you tell your family and you tell your friends, and you might lose them in the process because you eat funny and you're not in their social clique anymore. And what do you do for Easter? What do you do for Christmas? What do you do for Thanksgiving? How are you going to be so odd compared to everyone else?
Well, that's the social component of food, and that's part of our problem as a whole. Food equals socializing. Food equals happiness. Food equals fun. What equals happiness and fun? The people you meet along the way, the people you interact with, your family and friends, and the rest of the things that go on in life. There are so many things to talk about and to discuss, and we got 24-hour news cycles, and the internet is always full of new information and things to discuss. So it doesn't need to be centered around all varieties and types of food just because that's what we're used to. So it's a fear of losing the fun of food.
Well, when was the last time you asked a friend a personal question about them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not texting.
Yeah, not texting.
Actual exchange
Right.
in person.
You
It
know,
just
and-
doesn't happen
Well,
anymore.
what's one of the first things that happens when you go to a family party or a little get together, you go see someone, at a restaurant.
You grab a drink.
What do you say? How you doing? How are you? How you feeling? What's
Exactly.
going on?
You should.
It's very sad, but we actually lost friends. Friends of
Yeah.
15 years. 15 years.
Broke our hearts.
Yep. Because, well, we started eating differently.
And we
then
started being happy about it. And we started talking about it.
because you're supposed to be able to talk to your friends and family about the good things going on in your life.
Yes.
And they could see that we were both obviously losing some weight and feeling better about the way we looked. And not once did these friends of 15 years, not once did they say, how are you feeling? Are you still on that new way of eating? Are you still just doing meat? How's that working for you? Are there any downsides? What do you think? Do you
Yeah.
recommend it to other people? If so, what? None of that. That's what friends and family do. You ask questions like that. So,
And you also see things that Carnivore could help. And then
Sure.
you point that out. And you got a 50-50 chance as to how that's going to be taken too. I mean, your family has an issue with that.
Exactly. If you're thinking about talking to friends and family, Lynn doesn't mean you walk up and say, boy, you put on about 100
No.
pounds last week.
Sorry.
We're not talking about that.
No.
Look, but if we've had friends that say, I got this skin condition. I don't know if it's rosacea. My skin's been breaking out. It's just frustrating as hell. Because that's how friends talk to each other, real friends.
Or women with hormone issues.
Sure, yeah.
Well,
they don't talk to me about that.
I know, but for me,
Yeah.
I'm postmenopausal, but a lot of the people that we used to hang out with aren't, and they might be having female issues.
Right.
And you get each other aside, and you start talking girl stuff, and you want to say, this can help you.
Well, we've learned that it balances hormones for men and women.
Yeah.
And when your hormones are balanced, and it's not just about sexual function. That's not what hormones are all about. Hormones are also about how well you sleep, how well your cognition.
Just function.
It's about how well you function overall. You're more balanced, and that's what it's about. But the point is, you should be able to talk to friends about that.
And you know what? They should be interested in the things that you are glowing about.
Yeah,
I mean, I know we tend to get a little evangelistic about this whole thing.
And that's
And
okay.
wait till you try Carnivore, because you will too.
That's right.
Warning.
But it's okay. You see, a friend could tell a friend that.
Yeah, like you're so happy about this. What is the deal?
I appreciate your enthusiasm, but at a dinner party or something, could we just ease it? You could talk to a friend like that.
Yeah, but do you
know?
remember the time we went to that restaurant and the waitress was telling
Oh,
us
yeah.
all about how her hormones had changed.
The waitress
her,
went
her periods
carnivore.
were so much better, and the whole thing. We're just going, okay.
This was a young woman, and
Yes.
she was a server at a restaurant, and we ordered a meat-based meal, and that was no big deal. But she came back and said, "Are you guys carnivore?" I said, "Sure." She said, "Oh, I went carnivore,
I am
and
too."
it fixed this, this, and this.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you." So but that's what happens.
Yeah.
But see, a stranger treated us better than our own family and friends have.
At
I've
the
got
time,
family
yeah.
members that are on medications across the board. I mean, pick
Oh,
it.
you name it. It's
Mental, physical, internal, external. They've had problems in a
Yeah.
variety of things. Allergies. This is one of the biggest little surprises, or the
Oh,
littlest biggest
huge.
surprise for us.
Yeah, we were listening to the reports the other day,
Yeah.
and big high pollen season in South Carolina, and I'm sure it was in Texas too, because you can see that green film all over
On
everything,
your
cars,
vehicles, right.
everything.
But on the news, they said it's finally easing off. It's been terrible for the last 2 weeks. And I looked at her and I said, "Have you
Yeah.
sneezed in the
No.
last 2 weeks?"
No, it's the weirdest thing.
No runny nose. I mean, now
No.
we've been doing a lot of work outside, and we've been doing some burns of some trees and brush and stuff.
We've been working the field,
That's
Dr.
the only
Barry.
time I sneeze, though, when you're outside in the dust.
Yeah, if
with
you get too
smoke.
much. Yeah,
But I'm telling you, we haven't had any allergies.
I know.
And another little,
It's astonishing.
a little big thing, and this it may not be a big deal to you, but the carnivores out there, you know what I'm talking about. I am 67 years old, and my skin feels great. I know I've got the old guy wrinkles. I get it.
I got
okay?
the old gal wrinkles.
That
I'm
comes
2 years
with-
older than he is.
But that comes with the territory. So,
Yeah.
but I'm telling you, the texture and my skin is in perfect condition right now. I feel great. I feel like I look better, at least to me, when I look in the mirror. The reason I bring up my family is I have a large family. I have 7 siblings, and only one of them is remotely interested in our way of eating, regardless of seeing my health progress and changes and the way I feel and the way I talk and express myself, regardless of all of that, they're not interested or they're fearful of maybe getting off of their medications for allergies or what. I'm not talking about the very serious things that, the medication is designed to help. If you need your blood vessels opened up with some sort of a heart medicine, that's fine. Well, I get that.
People have been doing the same thing for so many years.
Right.
You put a wrench into that routine, and they might be afraid of what's on the other end.
Right.
I mean, that could be a fear of success, which is, you can't comprehend that, but it could be because you see yourself a certain way. Right. What if I do this and I change? You may not even be cognizant of the fact that that's an issue to you.
That's true.
But your insides are like, I don't know.
That's a great point. Because, for one thing, fear of success would also mean, what will these other people think of me? If I go to these weekly events, if I go to some church functions, and all of a sudden I'm the only one sitting there with the cheeseburger on the plate and the cottage cheese and just meat and dairy or whatever, bacon, whatever, and I'm the only one that's not eating a salad. Or
you're the only one that's not having a piece of a cake.
It's my last day. Have a piece.
All right, pile it on.
For he's a jolly good fella.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, piece of cake, or, I'm sorry, sourdough bread.
I know.
All the breads, you remember?
I'm such a grain girl,
I know.
And
all carbohydrates are sugar, babe.
How in the world could they have gotten a bad rap?
I know.
And corn. I'm from Minnesota.
Corn and potatoes and rice and pasta.
I know. I had an Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
But it's the weirdest thing, I tell you. With all that in my background, my father making popcorn by hand every single week, or every day, basically, because we do that there. I don't miss it. Right. I mean, I have fond memories. I don't think I will ever, for those of you that are wondering what it's like, I don't think I miss it to the point where it's just a fond memory. Beyond that point, I mean.
Yeah.
I can still look at pictures on a commercial and TV and see a piece of pizza and see whatever and go, that looks really good, but I don't want it.
You know who's worse at that is,
what?
Or the best at being the worst?
What?
Those Olive Garden commercials.
Oh, I know.
All the close-ups of the food and the cheesy,
I
gooey.
know.
Oh,
it's not fair.
But it's great, and I'll tell you.
But we made it through.
I'll tell you why we made it through is because what I've discovered personally, because I don't drink alcohol anymore. I have no interest in it. I just don't have a taste for it, and I wasn't drop dead drunk every night, but I like my martini.
No, we enjoyed our
like
relaxation.
A glass of wine.
Yeah.
You sit outside with a cigar and a glass of wine or a whiskey, and I really don't drink anymore. But the point is, your body doesn't miss what it doesn't need.
Bizarre as that sounds, it is absolutely true. You just don't feel like it anymore.
Once you get over that initial hump in the first 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks.
It should take about that.
If you get off of the sugars, as you get off the sugars and desserts, and you're off of the pasta and the breads and the grains, you start getting all of those carbohydrates under control, and then suddenly you don't want them anymore. It just doesn't. It doesn't appeal to you when you've been eating fatty red meat. You like your ribeye steaks or your 80-20 hamburgers, even other kinds of meat as well. But the ruminant meats, the cows, the beef, the lamb, that's the best kind. But you could eat chicken and fish and lobster and venison and enjoy all of that. But once you do that, your body doesn't miss what it doesn't need. I'm telling you, it fades.
And that brings me to another fear, which is, I don't know if I can do this forever.
Oh, that's a big one. Forever, exactly.
Doesn't have to be a forever decision right off the bat.
I had a niece.
Yeah.
She had the problem with MS. She was on medication for it, as far as I knew. And I shared a video with her. She wasn't remotely interested. She said, "I'm not going to eat meat for the rest of my life. You don't expect." I said, "Well, okay. Well, maybe I didn't handle it well. I didn't say the rest of your life.
No,
I just said try it for 30, 60, 90 days.
It's what they have heard on the street.
Yeah.
As opposed to people that they trust. And we can sit there and tell them, why don't you just try it for 2 weeks? I mean, I'm not saying 2 weeks is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not a good test. But by that 2-week period, you should at least be sleeping a little better. And you should also have that voice. You know the one. I've had it too in my life, and I haven't been overweight. That louder voice where it says, you know, you can have another one of that. Go ahead. Just finish the little carton or container of that one of graham crackers.
Or finish
because
one,
it's just one.
Finish the last one in the row of Oreos.
Yeah, something like that.
But you know what?
That voice gets quieter and quieter and quieter. It's weird.
Yeah, that's the truth. So those are the fears, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're afraid you're going to miss all those other foods, on that, I mean,
You can try anything for 2 weeks or 30 days.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, listen to us, please, but don't take our word for it. Do your own research and do a little experiment. You have nothing to lose except a few pounds that you need to lose, and you're going to gain better sleep. That part I can guarantee.
And wouldn't it be nice if that voice went away? Wouldn't it be interesting to find out if in that 2-week period you could overcome that voice of addiction?
Yeah.
You could be free of ever needing to eat every 5 seconds, to constantly fill your mouth with something. I mean, because that is another one of the huge benefits of carnivore, and that is that you just don't get hungry because you're full for the first time in your life. You're actually listening to your body. When it's hungry, and you know it. And when you're thirsty, and you know it. But we haven't listened. We've drowned it out with all kinds of bombarding sugars, carbohydrates, whatever. And like Dr. Chafee says, we make the carbohydrates we need. Our liver makes 4 grams of carbohydrates. That's all we need. Anything over that is excessive. It's, what do I do with this? Or do I put it in this fat cell? It's totally confusing, overwhelming, and then that affects your ability to have a good immune system because it's working on stuff it shouldn't have to be working on.
Exactly.
Then you go to your pantry or your refrigerator, and when you know that formula of 4 grams equals a whole teaspoon of sugar, and you start reading those labels in horror as to what they've put in there.
And every time, you brought up 2 interesting things. Every time you hear the word or say the word carbohydrates, replace it. That's sugar.
Poison.
It's sugar. That's
Poison.
That's all it is. Okay? And the other thing is, you also glossed over the word addicted. And nobody wants to say, I'm an addict.
But you find out.
Nobody wants to say that, but they've engineered our food, these ultra-processed foods, to be addictive.
They have scientists on their payroll to hit the bliss points in our mouth to make us want to eat more. You know that commercial, Bet You Can't Eat Just One? That's their job.
And that's why they win that bet. Because they've engineered it. They fixed it. They fixed it in the favor of the house.
Yep. Everything's been designed to make us addicted to sugar.
Yep.
And it was by design, and it was because once we are, our body slowly gets ill, and then we need the pill. And then that pill needs another pill. And let's put a TV commercial on where everyone's dancing and they're talented and they're happy.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell.
Serious side effects may include ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function,
genital yeast infections in men and women, urinary tract infections, low blood sugar, or a rare life-threatening bacterial infection between and around the anus and genitals can occur.
We are being manipulated. And you have got to get more discernment when you're watching television. You want to know who's behind the funding for that particular research. Who's the one that stands to make the most money from this particular commercial? What's motivating them? Not what they say or what they do, but what's the motivation?
And we're not blaming doctors for being crooks.
It's what they were taught.
And being evil. They're just telling you what they've been taught. And there's a multi-facet to this. The first problem is, nowadays, they don't have time.
No.
An average doctor, what's he spend with you? 6 minutes? 10 maybe if you're lucky, right? He's managing your illness and trying to help you feel better that moment.
Yeah, it's an immediate response.
Not getting to the root cause of your problem. When was the last time your doctors opened a conversation with, what kind of diet are you eating? What are you eating on a daily basis, just out of curiosity? When has the doctor said that?
My doctor friend tells his patients to eat healthy. But that descriptive word is not described. It's not told what healthy is.
Right.
And then they go to the ADA,
The American
Apple
Diabetes
Crisp.
Association.
Yes, and they see Apple Crisp, which is why Dr. Berry and a handful of other doctors, I believe, Dr. Westman and Dr. Hampton and a few others, have put together the American Diabetes Society, AmericanDiabetesSociety.org. Check it out. They want people to heal. They want people to be off medications, or in the case of type 1 diabetics, at least lower their insulin for the first time in their life, perhaps. You know, we have to train our doctors.
Yeah.
We have to say, look at my blood work.
Right.
Look at what I've done with my body.
Right.
And like poor Carrie Mann with his cardiologist, I mean, had heart problems from birth, Carrie did.
Been overweight for years.
Been
up until
overweight
he
for
went
years,
carnivore.
had all kinds of heart issues,
Right.
had testing, realized the doctor can sit and look at what it was and what it is now, and the biggest expression of wow was, that's interesting. Seriously?
Yeah.
These people need to very
But-
nicely be told, look
That's
at
right.
me,
But that's
I've
why-
done something.
That's why for the health concerns, the fear of different health concerns you
Yes.
might have regarding carnivore, that's why you get the new knowledge.
Right.
And then if you get challenged by a doctor, you say, well, doctor, I feel great. Why are you recommending this particular pill or this particular prescription?
What will it do for me?
What will it do for me? Ask better questions.
Right. What is it? What's the downside?
Will I have to be on this for the rest of my life? Think of that sentence.
That's
for the
not
rest
healing.
of your life.
That's
Oh, you want to be on a
prescribing.
statin for the rest of your life?
Yeah. And
Think
what
about
will that do for me for the rest of my life? Look up Dr. Berry and statin on YouTube.
Right.
And
I
let
think-
him tell you.
I think it came out to maybe 1 or 2 extra days.
No, 3 or 4. Let's extend it fully.
3 or 4 extra days of health if you take a statin
For
every
20
day
years.
for a year versus just
20 years.
eating ancestrally.
Yeah.
Eating the way we were meant to eat with food we can easily digest.
Yeah, what did we do back at the beginning?
Yeah.
When we didn't have a grocery store filled with 60,000
How
items
about the
that were
wild animals?
frankenfoods?
What are the carnivore lions?
Oh, I
do?
know.
What
I
do you think?
love this. Oh, it's Mrs. Lion bringing Mr. Lion home a zebra, and he actually says, "Oh no, not another zebra."
Zebra again?
Really?
Can't you catch a gazelle or bring something else back for
Does
me?
he say that? No. Does a
course
koala
not.
bear go, "Oh, yet another eucalyptus
More
tree"?
eucalyptus. Gee.
No, we're the only
No.
ones that think we have to have this plethora
Right.
of frankenfoods. And then on top of that, we have to have every single fruit, all the season long, all year long,
All year long. Coming from other countries.
coming from other countries so that we can just put it in. And then none of that fruit looks like its original form because we had to have it prettier, we had to have it sweeter, we had to have it bigger, we had to make sure it lasted on the shelf a long time too.
Here's the final thing, before we wrap this up on fear, is I think you can do anything for 2 weeks, okay? If you are willing to, if you want to feel better, not if you're willing to,
Yeah.
if you want to feel better, if you want to improve your health on many levels, not just weight. Weight is an outward symptom of something much more serious happening inside of you.
Inflammation.
Okay,
True.
metabolic inflammation.
Yes.
It's not just fat. You ever had aching joints? Do you have aching joints? Do you have rosacea? Do you have acne? Are you an adult and you think, why am I still having acne? This is terrible. We know people who have been through this.
Are you exhausted all the time?
Yeah. Are you tired all the time? Do you have any do you
have
have
a
the
hard-
energy to spend with your kids or grandkids?
Do you have a hard time remembering things?
When you walk up the flight of stairs, do you have to stop and catch your breath? That happens to a lot of people, regardless of your weight.
When you walk into a room, did you forget what you were there for?
Yeah. I know that's a perfect joke. I mean,
Welcome to brain
it's a
fog.
joke along, but that is brain fog.
Yeah.
But carnivore will help mental clarity. First thing it will notice, if you give it a shot for 2 weeks, 2 weeks, just don't eat any processed food. Well, I have a suspicion that for the vast majority of people,
Yeah.
the first 2 weeks, well, right away, I can tell you this, you're going to sleep better. You will sleep more deeply. And that's where the restorative part, that's
Yes.
where your body's healing from the inside out. The first 3 days, on the third day, I looked at her and I said, I haven't slept that deeply in years. I was dreaming vivid dreams again. And I felt so refreshed in the morning. And when you feel refreshed, what happens throughout the rest of the day?
Everything goes better, and
Plenty
you have
of
a better
energy.
outlook, you have more energy,
Right.
you think better, more clearly. And I can attest to that because of working in so many overnights.
Yeah.
I felt like I was a zombie.
Right.
And I couldn't, put two sentences together.
Right.
And then after eating properly and putting the right fuel in your brain, your brain likes ketones. Your brain needs cholesterol. Matter of fact, your brain needs the cholesterol so much that it gets first dibs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the opposite of fear is courage.
Yes.
So you know what? For now, if you're listening and you need to hear this, you put that fear aside. You crush that fear starting right now. Okay? And you tell yourself, I am courageous. I am strong. I can do this. I will do this for 2 weeks.
Right.
Just 2 weeks.
And then
evaluate yourself, and you're going to say,
another 2 weeks. Yeah, I can do that. Just 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you're already at 30 days. And then at 30 days, you're going to want to see what 60 days will do.
well, we hope this video has kind of put to rest a little bit of the fear components. The first thing about fear, what they say is you have to face it.
Yep.
So face it intellectually first, all right? I'm not asking you to go out and do some high karate move on somebody, all right?
Just eat more meat.
Just face, yeah, exactly. Face whatever fear is in your mind, and the best antidote for fear is knowledge, okay? So take the fear, crush that fear, put some knowledge on top of that fear. You put your shoulders back and your chest out and your head up, and you say, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. 2 weeks. Commit yourself to 2 weeks and see how you feel.
Beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for 2 weeks.
That's
I mean,
it.
it's not like we're making you eat peas and kidney beans, okay? Come on, now let's get serious.
That's a great point, right
Exactly.
there.
So
Beef,
do that.
Remember, that's an easy way to remember. Beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. All right. If you don't remember anything else, and water.
Yes.
You drink when you're thirsty, and
You eat until you're comfortably stuffed.
that's it. That's it. So if you can afford steak, get yourself a few nice steaks for the next week.
Do treat yourself at the beginning because this is a step in the right direction toward the rest of your life being happier, healthier, living longer perhaps, and just not having to rely on being sick all the time and going into the doctor every 5 minutes. Did you enjoy doing that?
Yeah.
I don't think you did.
So, all right, the first thing is bacon and eggs in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe a cheeseburger in the afternoon.
Well, patty.
No bun.
Yeah.
No bun and nothing else on top. You get a nice quality cheeseburger, big half pounder. Maybe you put a little slap of cheese on there, and that's it. And enjoy it. And then dinner time, grill yourself that nice steak. That's all.
Do it.
All right, I'll do it. Speaking of which,
Yes.
anyway. Well, listen, friends, thank you very much for spending this time with us. I appreciate this. I hope we helped in some way. But you know what? Face your fears. Be courageous. You can do this.
You can.